418,399. That is the number of signatures being turned in today to try to lower gas prices for working class Washingtonians. This segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action by visiting future42.org. We talked about this on the show yesterday. Initiative 2117 would repeal Washington State's cap and trade program. And what the cap and trade program has done, we know, is it has increased prices at the pump for everyone, but it's really hit working class Washingtonians hard. And not only that, it obviously increases prices at the grocery store. You're probably noticing that. If you're a Puget Sound Energy customer, your rates have also gone up as a result of Governor Jay Inslee's cap and trade program. So today, signatures are being turned in for Initiative 2117, which has been led by Brian Heywood at Let's Go Washington. They announced that they'd collected the signature threshold. They'd reached the signature threshold during a press conference just a couple hours ago. Gotta love the visual of the boxes and boxes and boxes of signatures from people in Washington State who are saying this thing has got to go. We are really struggling under the weight of this hidden gas tax. So Brian Heywood, before he went off to the gas station to announce the good news, stopped by unDivided to talk to us about where this initiative goes from here. It doesn't surprise me that the carbon tax, gas tax thing is the first to reach the threshold and be turned in. Does it surprise you?
Once we got going, no. At first, we kind of threw it in at the last minute as the last one because they'd stuck this thing in and it was a gas tax and we were already getting hit by the gas tax and people were feeling upset. And so we thought, well, let's put this one in. And as soon as we got it out there, that was the one. I mean, people were just mad. They were mad, and it wasn't just mad. It wasn't like mad because I don't like it. It was mad because I'm making a choice between groceries and gas sometimes, right? Yeah. It was that kind of mad, and it was a frustration. So as soon as we got it out there, we realized, oh my gosh, this is the one that's got people fired up.
Yeah. So you obviously are comfortable enough with your signature threshold to turn them in. I know you're still going to collect signatures, yes. But what did you need, and approximately where are you at?
So my goal was to begin turning them in as soon as we got 400,000. Okay. So you need 324,000 and change. They recommend you get 400 to 405,000.
Gotcha.
And so we wanted to start turning things in as soon as we hit 400. We'll be well over 400,000 on this one.
Yeah, and that extra buffer, it accounts for maybe people who signed it who weren't registered voters, correct. People who signed it twice, et cetera. Let me ask
Mickey Mouse.
Before Mickey Mouse, people who did it just to troll you.
Right.
How do I put this delicately, if I even need to? I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that high gas prices make or break your pocketbook personally.
Right.
I always try to be delicate about you're doing well financially, right. So why, I guess, and this goes for a lot of the things that you're collecting signatures on, why is this something that you would dedicate your time to when high gas prices don't impact you personally?
Well, they impact everybody I know and love, right? And I moved here from California because things got out of hand. And there was no check on the legislature. And it began to do things that were completely out of sync with what the everyday average person was experiencing. And that's my background, right? I grew up in Arizona, small town. We weren't rich. Things like this would they would hit you. And this particular tax, it doesn't just hit you in the gas tank. I mean, I call it a triple tax. It's a triple hidden tax right now that we know of. It's a triple, maybe way more than that. First of all, you see it in the gas prices because they've gone up so high, right? The only reason they've come down a little bit now is because they're doing this extraordinary auction that temporarily lowers the price now, but there's a limit on how much they can auction. So in the future, it's going to go up twice as fast. So they're playing games with us on the tax, the gas tax. If you go and buy groceries, every single thing that you have in the grocery store came on a truck that had to pay this hidden gas tax. And so now your eggs and your milk and your cheese prices are all up. And then we had hide the increase in your home heating cost, right? Yeah. With the Puget Sound. And I think that's just almost criminal that they're not putting that on there, but you're getting hit 3 times. So if your budget suddenly goes up $500, $600, $700 a month, maybe that's a little high, but goes up $200 a month for some people. That's a breaker.
It is, and I'll say just personally, Mike and I are doing fine financially, right? But for the first time, Mike got back from I won't say which grocery chain it was. Don't need to throw anybody under the bus. And he was like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need to go to Costco more. And like, so I went and I got like some of the bulk meals and we froze them into meals and stuff.
Right.
And that's really the first time as a couple that I think we've had that, like, we're spending too much on groceries, we're spending too much on gas. So let's talk about where this goes from here, right? So it's going to have to be certified to make sure you guys have enough signatures, et cetera. To me, there's really two likely scenarios. Either the legislature adopts it or it goes to voters, right?
There's one more thing they can do. They can come up with their own version to compete with this and try to put that on the ballot.
But either way, so
this goes on the ballot.
This goes on the ballot in 2024. Now, we would like, obviously, the legislature to say, hey, this is what people want, clearly. Let's just adopt it and move on. I think that's very unlikely. Do you share that sentiment?
Yes.
Okay. So the sell for this for folks when it hits the ballot in 2024 is very easy. Lower gas prices, like stop the hidden gas tax, right?
Right.
What do you anticipate being the counter to that? Like, let's get into that mode right now. So
they're already saying it, right? Well, the first thing do you hate the environment? And it's sort of this insinuation that I'm stepping on baby kittens and that kind of thing, right? That'll be the pitch. Oh, the environment, we're gonna lose. It's the Al Gore sort of pitch.
Yeah.
The problem with it for them to make that with a straight face, and I don't know how they do it with a straight face, is that this thing is just a big money grab right now. They were hoping for over 2 years $1 billion. They got $1 billion in 1 year. So now they've got this huge amount of money. And if you look at what they've done already, they're allocating the money to friends and possible supporters to study how to spend all the money. I can't imagine that if it's your own money, you don't give a bunch of money just to figure out how to spend other people's money. Yeah. It's irresponsible.
And I'll just interrupt you and say, if you need to study how to spend the money, you don't need the money in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Amen.
Oh, it's insane. Do you anticipate personal attacks?
I'm already getting them.
Such as?
Lawyers for SEIU and WEA, and those groups are filing frivolous PDC complaints. And they're clearly trying to weaponize the PDC to stop this. Yeah. So there's that, but then there's the stuff that I'm sure you get a lot more of this than I do. But when people send me personal emails on the Let's Go Washington site to tell me to kill myself or call me the C word or whatever, I'm gonna go, what are you doing? Why is that gonna stop me? I don't know. But it's coming in and I can see it's gonna hit. So I think I'll probably get some personal vitriol and I'll get some organized labor coming after me, but.
It's fascinating for exercising your rights right, exactly. And this is built into our Constitution for a reason, to give people who I think feel very cut out by one party rule. This is the recourse. They haven't been able to make a difference when they turn in their ballots. And this is a recourse for people who really feel crushed under so many of these taxes. And I thought about it. I was revisiting the Let's Go Wall website earlier, and you have them all classified under category like public safety, and this one's under cost of living. But think about that. The cost of living. When I think about that, it's like, what is the cost the government puts on our ability to live, So the timing of this is interesting. And I'm wondering if you think it's advantageous or troublesome. 2024 is a huge election year, right? And, I think Republicans, for instance, have a better chance than they've had in a long time of capturing the governor's office. So there's going to be a lot of money that's poured into trying to defeat this and some of the other initiatives if they move forward. How do you think that factors into the overall money pit that's spent on races?
It's not just the money; it's the airtime and the messaging as well, right? And so we did this on purpose this year. What I learned last time, so I tried to do 11, right? Mm-hmm. Because why not? Last year, and last year was in the middle. We gathered signatures in an even election year. And I found out that I was running into that money issue. I was trying to recruit people to go and collect signatures, and everyone was busy. And so there was not a lot of attention. And I realized, no, the thing I need to do is run this in the odd year, and then it's on the ballot in the even year. And the benefit of that is multiple. One is that I think, and I spoke to some people. One of the people I spoke who's in the running in the left side of the aisle, and basically said to me that the agenda is Trump abortion, Trump abortion, Trump abortion, Trump abortion, right? But they're going to have to contend with 6 issues that people are fed up with, right? And so I think, number one, we change the agenda. If we get all 6, and I'm pretty confident that we'll get 6 of them on the ballot, that'll be unprecedented. So there's a different topic. The second thing is that money that usually would go to squash small candidates that can't raise much money is going to have to be spent on this if they're going to have to spend it on something that's popular with people.
Yeah.
This isn't the go kill baby kittens law, right? This is, how do you get to work? If you're commuting 30, 40, 50 miles a day, this law hits you every single day.
Yeah, and the other ones too, when you look at the making the long-term care tax optional, something that's also, I know it's not as visible as pulling up to the gas pump because it's just coming out of your paycheck, but that's just one more thing that's hurting people. And it also, alternatively, not only is it something that I think Republican candidates or common sense Democrats can use to campaign off of, but it is something that if the media is doing its job, it should be asking those Democratic candidates, where do you stand on these issues? And
long-term care is actually one that I think is especially poignant with that the media needs to be on this, because if you look at it, when it first went through the sort of the budgetary process, they do this. I'm not going to use technical speak because I don't even know the right words for it, but they sort of evaluated to see if it'll pass fiscal muster, and it wouldn't. It didn't several times, so they had to go back and rewire the thing. And when they did, there's several pieces that they put into it that to me are blatantly antagonistic to groups that the Democrat majority tends to claim that it protects. Yeah. The big one would be, there's a clause in there that says if you got to work for 10 years, right, to get credit for it. If you take 5 years and a day off, you have to start back over at year 0 to get your 10 years again. Mm-hmm. And if one did a little bit of logic and said, well, geez, is it men or is it women that take 5 years off in the middle of their career to do something, I don't know, let's say have a baby, right? Mm-hmm. Well, clearly, right? There's no way that was intended. There's no way it was unintended. Let's put it that way. Yeah. They knew what they were doing. This was designed to screw moms over.
Yeah. Well, and we had Elizabeth Hovde with the Washington Policy Center to talk about some of those shortcomings. And she also said the same is true when it comes to, when you think about the very issue that long-term care is about, people who need to take time off to take care of an elderly loved one or a sick loved one, and then they're out of the system. They don't even benefit from it later in life. And also poor people who are going to end up taking advantage of Medicaid, and so then they're not going to fall into that. So
and they're paying for the middle class people to have 3 months of care that won't last long enough.
So this one is being turned in an hour from now. Your drop dead deadline for signatures for all of these is?
The last date that we can turn anything in is December 29th.
December 29th. So we're going to just wait patiently to hear the other dates. I think this is going to make for a fascinating and busy 2024 election cycle.
We're going to change the topic. And it'll be the topic of what people are concerned about rather than whatever crazy thing Olympia wants to do.
Yeah, let's hope so. All right, Brian Heywood, letsgowa.com, letsgowa.com. They can find locations to be able to sign on the website.
And I would pitch a couple of things. Number one is they're going to try to make these as partisan, but they're not. So take them home for Thanksgiving. You can actually talk about these for Thanksgiving.
Talk them over.
Everybody in the family can sign them. Number two is even though we're turning these in, this first batch in, we're not done. And so I'd encourage people keep getting signatures and turn them in. That's a big thing. Is we found last year. In January, I would get a box of signatures turned in. I'm like, that's too late.
It's too late.
So turn them in now. Even if the whole thing's not filled out, turn them in now. Reach out to us. We'll arrange a way to pick them up, get them turned in, and then get another packet in and get the rest of your friends.
Great. All right, Brian Heywood, great work. Thanks for doing this on behalf of people who maybe don't have the time or resources to be able to do a huge scale operation like that. I think it's going to mean a lot for working class Washingtonians to be able to have a meaningful choice on these issues.
Thank you, Brandi. Appreciate all you're doing.
Yeah, so again, thank you to Brian Heywood for making time to come in. A big day, certainly for him, for Let's Go Washington, and for people in Washington state who want a choice. This is really what this is about. There's a reason why the initiative and the referendum processes are there for us. It's so that if you have policies that have been passed by lawmakers that you don't like, that are negatively impacting you, there's a recourse for you. That segment was brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org.